not sure if what I'm thinking is making sense, so I thought I would just try and record it and see how it comes out. Whether for upload it to YouTube or not, I'm not sure. But I was just thinking about, like, when we start taking responsibility for our lives, to live a truthful life, and more sincere life, and more caring life, then we need to look at the relationships that we've been insincere in, and that we've caused harm to, or that we haven't respected, or that we haven't treated the other person very well. Let's just say as somebody who's a parent and they wake up to taking responsibility for themselves, etc. What I mean by that. And sees the inauthenticity in life, in the Truman Show, in the Matrix, in themselves, but then their personality and character that they've been playing, let's say with their children, also is very, very difficult. They need to take like a lot of responsibility for all their unconscious behavior towards their children. Like, I was thinking, this is for Leanne, for example, like her wanting to maybe take responsibility for herself in her own life, but then she needs to be like really willing to be able to sit down with her own children and say, this is who I used to be, this is who I am now, and I did you wrong, let's just say. I didn't know any better, but like a sincere, to actually sit down and to be sincere, and being able to say, look, I didn't know any better, and you bear the brunt of all of that, my mood and my emotionals, whatever, just rage and anger and neglect and all these things, and I did that to you. That's who I was. You see, like, I would think that for parents who have children that not, because each child is different, it's hard to say, but I mean, like for Leanne, whose children are in their teens, I think more than anything, Leanne wants her daughter her daughter really wants Leanne to just be sincere, and to be open, and to be vulnerable, and just say, look, I'm sorry. Not like, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. It wasn't me in a way. I'm not denying. I'm not trying to justify, but it wasn't me. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know who I was. And you got hurt, and many other things, and I'm sorry, And in that sincerity, for her daughter especially, can say, you know what? Then I can accept your apology. Then I can really appreciate what you're saying, because you're saying it sincerely, and I can see that, and I can see as human beings that we are flawed, and we make mistakes, and there's often times that we know not what we do, and I can see that, I can relate to that on a human level, on a mother to child level, and I can see and acknowledge the pain that you were also going through. Before maybe the child could say, they would see their pain in a very, they were causing the pain to themselves type of thing, which is true to a certain degree, but saying that, not empathizing, and the child used to say, well, something or other, not seeing the root of the cause of the pain and the hurt and whatever. Oh, well, you're just an aggressive, angry, narcissistic mother, let's just say. But if I'm making sense. Anyways, so we need that sincerity. Now for myself, I'm not going to my brothers and being sincere for the things that I might have. They're asleep themselves. So they wouldn't even understand what I'm talking about, really. You see, it's not that. I think it's harder to because Leanne's daughter is quite aware. She's quite conscious. She's quite astute. She's beyond her years in certain ways. And Leanne knows what her daughter needs and requires, but Leanne doesn't want to take responsibility. She doesn't want to take on that task. She doesn't want to do that heavy offloading, if you will. She doesn't want to humble herself and make herself feel vulnerable. She doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to be available. She doesn't want to have to feel the pain that she's caused or hurt, what she's done, and the disappointment, and also just that letting go of not being so because when you hold on to it, you're kind of strong. But when you let it go, you expose yourself and you open yourself up and you're fragile and you're weak. Although that's actually strength. I don't know if this is making sense. So I was just thinking about it. That like for my father had to wake up, using that term loosely, become more conscious, rather than say. And then he would turn around and say, Aaron, I wasn't there for you. Just wasn't there for you. I'd be like, no, you weren't. And for myself, I'm indifferent to my father. I'm not like, oh, well, you weren't there for me, I hate you, and I'm bitter by you, and, resentful, anything like that. I have nothing there, I don't care, I'm indifferent. It would be nice if he turned around for himself and for myself, and so we could have a relationship, of some kind, but, I don't know, it's unlikely, obviously, we're just talking, whatever, so, but he would have to come and you have to say to each one of his children, look, I chose the business over you, having a relationship with you, right? I was a religious tyrant, and you had to be religious and follow the rule by the, never step out of line type of thing, and I put a lot of pressure on you to make me proud. I didn't care about, you see, that's a lot there, it's a lot. I would think that maybe one of my brothers in particular, if my father had to sit down and say that, they'd probably be, no Dad, it's okay, don't worry about it, that, I don't know, they would ignore their own experience just to make my father feel comfortable. Because that's what they're so used to doing anyways, most of their lives. That's what it's about. It's like overseeing a lot of my father's shadow and shortcoming or short-sightedness and the consequences of his actions, and they overlook it. They don't want to see it. And sometimes again we don't want to see it because it's too ugly, and then we don't have a father figure anymore, then we're on our own type of thing. Like you don't want to see it. You don't want to see that maybe that they're a narcissist or something like that, because you're like, oh no, that's terrible. It's like somebody who's diagnosed with cancer and it's spreading like a wildfire or something like that through the body. It's like, oh no, it's very hard to make diagnoses of people. So and then also for my brothers, like, so that again, there's lots to be said here, but whatever, they'll be like, no Dad, don't worry about it, it's just life, I know that you've always meant well, because they're ignoring their own emotions of neglect and abandonment and suppression of their true self and things like that. They're not in touch with that, or they're not even struggling to find it. If they're struggling to find it in that process, on their journey, and my father comes along, then they're going to be, my brother will be highly emotional and be like, yeah, man, I'm broken. I've got a lot of work to do on myself with all of this, a lot of healing, and and it's heavy what you're saying, and it's so late now in the game. I mean, you like in your, how old's my father, 70 or something like that. It's like we missed out on so much. I mean, it's never too late, but still. And not only that, but for myself now, there's so much for me that I got to work on and heal, and I don't know, I missed out on so much. I could have had a happier childhood. There's a lot of regret and resentment. You see, that's seeing from the bigger picture, but most of us aren't in touch with that. Most of the time, we'll just be in that raw moment of maybe my brother just feeling uncomfortable about my dad. I hope the ocean's not too loud. I'm wearing earplugs and headphones, so I don't know. I'm a strange cat. So, I don't know what to say really, but yeah, for me, my father, I would say, look, I'm happy for you, Dad. Like, it's fantastic, that you're becoming more conscious, that you're becoming more awake or something, that you're becoming self-actualized. Maybe that's also another word, self-actualized. And that's so amazing for you, another human being on the planet as well. I mean, that's terrific, and hooray. And, but I mean, for yourself, first and foremost, and then perhaps maybe, we could have a conversation, we could chat and speak, and you could give me advice, and I could give you advice or assistance or something or other or whatever it is, We could be there for each other. That would be great. In a true fashion of true support, and real conversation and real connection. Of course, I'm saying, but first and foremost for myself, it would be like, it wouldn't be for me, it would be my father. It would be like, well, fantastic. I don't know, maybe for myself, I think I've done my healing, a lot of my healing, in a way, in regards to my relationship with my father. So it would be much easier for him, let's say, to come to me. Well, maybe not. Maybe because if you approached my brothers to be sincere with them, they would just say, sure, Dad, don't worry about it. Like, it is what it is, You'll always be my dad, type of thing, And that would be, but also at the same time for my father, if my father's being self-actualized and he's sensitive now, he looks and he'd be like, oh man, you're probably unconscious and a bit of a schmuck because of me, in a certain way. I mean, some of it's also your choice, but it's like, I didn't do very well with you, type of thing. Yeah, that's something different. But and that was just really interesting, because I think there's a lot of shame for living disingenuously or living unconsciously or living with not being self-actualized. It's a constant shame, and not only that, but the true self is always feeling that shame underneath it all, underneath the persona, underneath the ego, or whatever it is. And that's one of the greatest pains that there is, and the greatest discomfort is insincerity of the soul. I mean, not insincerity, the disconnection. No, what am I saying? The shame of living a disingenuous life. Cowardice, and it haunts us, doesn't leave us alone, and it knocks at the door all the time. So for myself, at least, I can deeply appreciate this about Leanne, and understanding that it's very, very difficult for her, to sort of self-actualize, to take responsibility. Okay. I think it's obviously hard for everybody, isn't it? For myself, I suppose it wasn't so hard in regards for me becoming self-actualized in my relationships, I suppose, because I think that I've kind of been with people to a certain degree, or not even have friends that, I don't know, I think with my cousin Dean, now he lives in London, we're very close. I think going through my process, I'm not sure if he would have supported it, because it would have pushed him to also grow. We had a deep connection to also grow. So I'm not sure if it would have, interfered or whatever it is. But I mean, you in your own life, I mean, for myself, well, I suppose like when I started losing weight and became vegetarian or pescatarian, and my family would laugh at me and mock me, and a lot of things. It was very difficult. So we know people don't want you to grow and change, but I'm talking more in like on an emotional. It is emotional, but anyways, I suppose that's something else. But there is this massive resistance and resentment from people, from your family members when we once started to grow, for many different reasons. But that we know about, and we've all experienced that and continue to experience, to think for ourselves, to feel our emotions, to not playing the game and things like that. And we feel it all the time. So the process of individuation process is a very challenging and difficult one. Just washing my sand of my feet here. The feet of my sand. Well, that was rather pleasant walk, pleasant chat. I suppose this is worth an upload. Maybe useful to some, I think. And there I dropped my phone. Okay, so we'll chat soon. Take care.